أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأزواجه وذريته وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brothers, wherever you may be, I'm your brother Reza Abdul-Jabbar from Invercargill, New Zealand, greeting you on this great night, the night of Ramadan, the best of the months, the king of the month. May we look forward to be receiving more of this barakah, fasting the month of Ramadan, and ultimately achieving the ultimate prize, that is the forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the continuously merciful. Ma'ashir al-Muslimin wal-Muslimat rahimakumullah, my dear brothers and sisters, and whoever they may be there, over the next half an hour, we will carry on the topic that we started a week and a half ago, that on striving on being an ideal Muslim. This topic is very close to my heart, that for the last 10 years, 15 years, I took interest in this for the very reason that my observation, and this may well be my observation, but I truly believe this is also the case with many of us, that we seem to be seeing this figure or this quality of a mismatch, one that contradicts each other, almost at times not befitting to be called a Muslim. How often is that we see a person that whenever he prays, he will pray in the front of the saf, he would pray on time, Alhamdulillah, but then he may not get on with the majority of people, or he may stand in amongst the people, forgetting or neglecting perhaps the smell, and I mean some of the smell that is not very nice emanating from him. Or we see a person very well versed, yet he does not get on with his neighbors. Or we see other cases where one preaches, but he fails to deliver his own message. My dear brothers and my sisters, Islam has come to us as a systems of life. Deenul Islam, this deen is also the systems that if we look into it and grab it and do our utmost, we shall benefit. وقال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة. O you who have believed, have come to the fold of Islam, accept Islam, practice it in its entirety. Kafa. Don't go and pick and choose on parts that fits you and leave others that doesn't fit you. If it comes across between Islam and your culture, by this I mean cultural baggage, then cultural baggage must lose. Islam must come at the forefront. And this month of Ramadan, we need to pay special attention. We want to graduate. We all want to graduate with umlaut. We all want to graduate with the best of graduation, the flying colors, we say that in most countries. But we need to also upgrade. When we talk about the topic of ideal Muslim, in the first episode, I have outlined that a person has many relationships. One is between that person and Allah the Almighty. Two, between that person and his own self. Third, between that person and his parent. And then between him and his wives. and then between him and his children, and then between him and his relatives, and then between him with his Muslim community, and then between him with his neighbors, and then between him and the entire nation. And this must come with that order, not any other order, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed this upon us. That we need to put our parents above our wives above our children. Again, with this, what made me interested in this very topic is that sometimes we see a person absolutely perfect with his wife, but yet his shortcomings are his children. Other times, he defends his mothers profusely, yet he took the rights of his wives. And obviously, other times we see people that they look after the rights of his wife, yet fail very, very short on looking after the parents. This is not a fair way to become an ideal Muslim. One that is ideal, he will put the rights of all these different aspects of his life and give them all their rights. My dear brothers and my dear sisters, there is one ayah when it comes to this. It reminds me of one of these powerful ayah, which in my opinion, this one ayah will perhaps take over or even match the whole entirety of the Ten Commandments in its entirety. This ayah is Surah Al-Nahl, verse 90. And we hear this all the time. Those of you brothers and sisters that go to the masajid in Yawm al-Jum'ah, almost in every khutbah, we hear of this ayah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is outlining the very concept of Islam, the entirety in its entirety, and the reason of Islam coming to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered you to be just. Right? To be just. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl wal ihsan. And to do good. Wa ita'i dhil qurba. And to be spending on your relatives, to be extending kinship with your relative in all of its form. وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits all evil, shameful deeds like zina, wal munkar, and all of the ma'siyat, all of the injustice, wal baghi, all of the oppression, all of the rebellion. Ya'idhukum, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs you لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, so that you may receive admonition, that you may receive the reminders of what is right and what is wrong. My dear brothers and sisters, wherever you may be, we need to all upgrade ourselves. This is not a mean task. It's a task that we need to take on very, very seriously. We will never upgrade ourselves unless we seek the knowledge. Without knowledge, we don't know whether we're right or wrong. We don't know which part of us is correct or wrong. We don't know how we shall see the problems and identify the problems and fix it. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam as a system of life is a complete system. It's absolutely perfect in its entirety, but we need to accept it in all its entirety, completely. Kafa. Not to pick and choose. We often make that mistakes of picking and choosing. أشرى المسلمين والمسلمات رحمكم الله. How often is that we see a person, perhaps one that we seem to regard very highly in the community? He may look very overzealous on one aspect of Islam, yet he is very negligent on others. The so-called imams, the so-called scholars, we all need to learn this. This message is for every one of us. We cannot be overzealous on one aspect of Islam, and on one that we feel very strongly about, we say that this is halal, this is haram. But then on other aspects of Islam, we fall very short of. Almost to the point that we do not care about other aspects. We need to be balanced, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to be very balanced in terms of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and gives it the first priority. Yet the second best thing is that we need to look at our relationship within ourselves and the right of our own self. Have we given ourselves the rights? And among those, the right to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And amongst those, the right that we need to seek knowledge continuously and not to fall short in it. Because it is impossible to go into the third steps of knowing what the rights of our parents on us, what the rights of our wives on us, what the rights of our children on us, what are the rights of our relatives on us, and so on, if we do not have the knowledge. My dear brothers and sisters, wherever you may be. In Surah An-Nahl, verse 90, it's a complete guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we need. Allah instructs adl, ihsan, wa ita'i dhil qurba. Allah instructs on us justice, ihsan, all the good deeds. And this aspect of the third one is to be spending on our relatives. Haven't we all seen a person that looks very respectable, that looks very much a student of knowledge, but when it comes to his own family, he falls very short of? Perhaps he's not spending enough on his wife. Perhaps he's not spending on his children. Perhaps he may have had a divorce, yet he forgets about the children from his first wife. Or perhaps a person had a divorce and not give the rights of his wife. Or he or she may not give the rights of his mothers. I use the word mothers because here I'm talking about our mother and our mother-in-law. Once you enter into marriages, we gain another mother. And a lot of this, my dear brothers and sisters, it comes because of a disease known as kibr. Kibr is the arrogance, the boastfulness, the bad akhlaq, bad of manners, which is contrary to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Nabi sallallahu has instructed us for. Let's just reflect on this hadith. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يدخل الجنة من كان في قلبه مثقال حبة من كبر. A person will not enter paradise if in his heart there is a love for kibr, for arrogance, for boastfulness, for the feeling that he feels better, he feels more superior, whether he thinks that he's richer, whether he thinks he's more knowledgeable, whether he thinks that he is stronger, whether he thinks that he's more brilliant in thinking, whether he thinks he's stronger in physical being, whether he thinks that he's better looking, and all the rest. All this comes into practice. In order to achieve the goal, the ambition, the ultimate prize of ideal Muslims, we need to reflect on this. We know there are many hadiths that focuses on excellence of manners. I'm not about to outline every single hadith, but let's reflect on a couple of this. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يدخل الجنة my apology إذا أكثر جنة إذا أكثر جنة تقوى الله وحسن الخلق. That and the dominations and the majority of a person, they enter not the Jannah except because of taqwa Allah, except because of the fear of Allah and because of the excellence of manners. The topic of striving to be an ideal Muslims is a topic that I feel very compassionate about, one that we need to follow on, and one that applies to each and every one of us. Whether we are a father, whether we are a husband, whether we are a wife, whether we are children, whether we are a son, whether we are daughter, whether we are mothers, whether we are mother-in-law, and all that different position that we may fit in. Often we see a person very strong in terms of da'wah, yet he or she falls very short on their wives or on their husbands. A woman may do a lot of things outside, looked upon other as a great woman, but she has failed her number one, first and foremost, her duties towards her husband. So this is what we mean by being overzealous on one aspect of Islam, yet being negligent on other aspects of Islam. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam has come for us so that we get a balanced life. We got a life that is very meaningful, one that is most rewarding, a chance to live life happily in this world and to attain paradise in Jannah. But we need to all come along and reflect on ourselves and continue to look deep and digging into ourselves and look at where our shortcomings are, where our mistakes are, and willing to fix all of them one at a time and keep on progressing. My dear brothers and sisters, this topic is one that is never ending, but we have got many examples in the history of Islam of the people that we call and deem to be an ideal Muslims. In fact, the examples are abundant. In fact, the examples are endless. Whether we look at the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in, whether we look at the Tabi'ut-Tabi'in, rahimahumullah ajma'in, whether we are looking at the Atba'ut-Tabi'in, rahimahumullah ajma'in. In each and every single case, we see an individual really striving, working hard, upskilling himself in order to achieve the ultimate goal of being an ideal Muslim. My dear brothers and sisters, I feel that this starts by knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once you have understood the real meaning of life, whether we have learned the fact that the best things ever or the best of the worlds that it contains. We've discussed this before, that the best things that this world contains is knowing Allah, Rabbul Alameen. How many people we know have lived life, perhaps into the golden age, and still do not know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let alone having a great relationship with the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ma'ashra al-Muslimin, my dear brothers and sisters, wherever you may be. In other hadith, Nabi sallallahu said in the hadith, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خيركم أحسنكم خلق. The best amongst you are the one that has got the best of manners. We've mentioned two of these hadiths to do with manners. Why is this so important in achieving to become an ideal Muslim? Because in every one of these cases, we need excellent of manners in order to achieve the goal of being an ideal Muslim. We have seen in many examples, whenever one has failed in building that great relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, almost always that person has not achieved the excellent of manners. The excellent of manners become very important, become paramount in our quest to achieve the goal of being an ideal Muslim. My dear brothers and sisters, that hadith that we've mentioned also gives us the opportunity to reflect upon our relationship with the entire creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether it is our parents, whether it is our wives, whether it is our children, whether it is our brothers and sisters, whether it is with our relatives, our neighbors, the entire community that we live in, and the entire nations that we share this land with. The goal of a Muslim is always and always to contribute. A Muslims is not one that taking and taking and taking. A Muslims is one that would rather give than take. It is human nature that we do take and give, but we aspire to be one that would rather be giving rather than taking. It is our honor as Muslims to contribute to the society and to really look at the society as a place of ibadah, as a place to worship. Muslims never fear the challenges that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put forward in front of us. We treat every single challenges as that of an exam. In fact, a Muslim see this as we see life as a test. For those that are looking to upskill themselves in achieving the ideal goal of an ideal Muslims, they look at everything as a test. Why do I say that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that. وقال الله تعالى أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. It is Allah who has created death and life ليبلوكم, so that it becomes a test for you upon whom amongst us got the best of deeds. Imagine if we do not know this perspective, if this knowledge hasn't come to us revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran and shown by the example of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we will also be among those that are in a loss. At a loss, not sure on how to react upon the difficulties that we see time and time and time again. My brothers, my sisters, although we are not perfect, although we will continue to make mistakes, and that is the fitrah, that is our natural disposition. But the aim in achieving an ideal Muslim has to be one that we must not forfeit, one that we must continue and strive to achieve. This is a journey with no end. This is a journey that we must not stop. This is a journey that keeps on going, and this is a journey that only stops when we return to Allah. Let us look at every single aspect of Allah. Let us look at the way we walk, the way we treat others, the way we eat, the way we travel, the way we pray. Surely we want to come out from the masjid and the masajid that we see across the life that we live, that we are better outside the masjid than we are currently at. That we are resembling, emanating the great characters that are brothers and sisters that are not yet Muslims shall be envious of. That we are resembling the characters that those brothers and sisters that are not yet Muslims want to learn more about us, want to learn more of our systems of life. And therefore, it becomes da'wah for us. And this is not a small goal. We also need to see that whenever we are continuing to upgrade ourselves, that our surroundings are benefiting from this. This ideal Muslim is a personality that everyone wants to see, that everyone wants to benefit from, that everyone wants to have his company or her company. A circle of friends should get bigger. A circle of relatives should be warmer. Our family should be wanting to sit more with us. We must become that personality. Life is too short. Time, it takes and takes and it takes away from us. We are dying by the second. Let us not forget, in this month of Ramadan, we are looking for the forgiveness, the full forgiveness from the Almighty Allah, Jalla Jalaluh. That sometimes a person forget about the relationship that we have with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear brothers and sisters, we've only got a few minutes left. If you have any questions, please put them through. If you can answer it, I'll answer it. And I'll give it a few minutes. I'm looking at the screen to see if there is any um, messages. I'm seeing a few messages here, and most of them are just greeting me, saying Assalamu alaikum. And of course, my answer to you will be Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallah fikum. Whoever sent me these messages. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them now, and I'll give it a few minutes. Yeah, to see what's in the. Yeah, so I really want, whilst we are busy with the Quran, whilst we are busy with the Qiyam al-Layl, whilst we are busy with the Salatul Taraweeh, but we also need to be busy with extending kinship. We also need to be busy in upskilling ourselves and fixing some of the problems that we have. We also need to be warmer with our children. We also need to be warmer with our mothers. We also need to be spending more. How often we see a person that when it comes to free advice, he or she jumps at that. As soon as it hits their pocket, it means they've got to spend money. They buckle, they pull back in a hurry because he is too stingy or too miserly. Of course, this is not the trait that we want to depart from this world with. My dear brothers and sisters, it's my time is up. It is 9 o'clock, and generally we only run this for 30 minutes. Inshallah, we shall see you next time, biiznillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us its hidayah, inayah, to be able to fast this month of Ramadan and achieve that full forgiveness. And if I've made any mistake, it's come entirely from me. Ana al-fakir. But if there is anything that I've seen that is of benefit, it's come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in its entirety. And I've seen no more questions here. Inshallah, I'll close this majlis. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayh. Wa barakallah fikum. We shall see you in the next occasion, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.